Hey everybody, welcome to What a Week. Thanks for joining us. I heard I was getting a little ribbon last week from you and Brianna while I was on vacay.
Nothing untoward, Chris. You were away though. What'd you bring me?
Goose egg, John. I'm sorry. I ate all the bread and cheese on the way back.
After everything I've done for you.
I know, right? I owe you. Okay. All right, we have a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah.
I was on vacation, and I felt like I couldn't get off of Twitter the whole time. So let's first start with President Trump and the tariffs, and I guess the trade war that's going on here as we continue to see him ratchet up this tariff idea.
This is getting really interesting to me because one of the most striking things about the Trump era has been the almost apparently unshakable solidarity of particularly Senate Republicans behind President Trump. But his proposal to jack up the tariffs to Mexico starting next Monday has really upset, and then continuing to accelerate, as you see here, has really upset a lot of Republicans in states that would be hit hard by this, particularly Republicans who face re-election next year. Already, the economic payoff that was promised from the tax cut has been, at best, a mixed bag. And the concern now is that people are going to be spending, by some calculations, $1,300 more to buy a new car, more money for all sorts of produce, more money for beer. That's politically risky. So this pushback from Republicans, we'll see how well it holds up if it amounts to a veto-proof override. But this could be the first crack in the wall of solidarity that they have formed with the Trump administration. Really bears watching over the coming weeks.
All right, sounds good. And let's also talk about presidential candidate Joe Biden. He was in town. He visited a few spots. Martin's Park, named after Martin Richard, the youngest victim of the marathon bombing. So Joe Biden in town. Thoughts?
Well, second time he's come to Boston in just the last few months. I believe he was here to show solidarity with these striking Stop and Shop workers. And, come on, Massachusetts, the primary here is not that big a deal. Right. It's certainly one of, if not the bluest state in the country. Well, first of all, he's smart. He knows that Boston media plays into southern New Hampshire, so he can hit voters there. And frankly, I think a lot of this is about courting Marty Walsh. Now, what difference does the endorsement of a mayor make? Well, Walsh, if he should wind up endorsing Biden, and their friendship goes back a long ways, could provide some troops to go over the border into New Hampshire to help with the New Hampshire primary. But more to the point, Walsh is a former union leader. Someone who campaigned effectively in blue-collar areas last time around for the National Democratic ticket. To get his endorsement would be a really good sign for Walsh and for other candidates. Elizabeth Warren would like to have Marty Walsh's endorsement to perhaps help her credibility among blue-collar voters elsewhere around the country. So it's an interesting dynamic to watch.
It is interesting to see how, a place where we normally don't think of ourselves in the spotlight on the Democratic side of things, all of a sudden, okay, people are maybe fighting over some of our leaders.
And don't forget, we're notorious as an ATM for Democratic candidates here. Biden had a couple of fundraising events later that day, so there's that too.
Of course. Last thing we want to talk about this week, let's talk a little bit about what's been deemed fake news. Pew Research has come out with a poll talking a little bit about how Americans view this idea of fake news. And what's your breakdown of this?
Well, the Pew survey found 68% of Americans are concerned about fake news, think it's a problem. Half of adults believe it's a real thing. Among them, 68% think it's undermining confidence in government. And perhaps most disturbing of all, the Pew survey didn't really define fake news. They kind of left that up to the respondents. There's a stark partisan gap. In which Republicans think that the media makes up stories to attack President Trump. A large percentage do. Very few Democrats feel the same way. And, this is a problem. There's an old saying, Chris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. Well, that has increasingly become outdated now, people do feel entitled to their own set of facts. And when you can't agree on a common set of facts, what happens to the truth? It struggles to survive in that climate.
Do you think when we move forward and you're looking towards 2020 and obviously fake news and this everything we saw on social media in 2016 and whatnot, do you think that this is something that we really need to pay attention to as far as the candidates and what they stand for and not letting ourselves get divided the way maybe some people were last time around?
Big time. Absolutely, I do. The Russians are going to try to do again what they did last time. There's no bones about it. All our intelligence services say the same thing. And, you know, the problem is you're going to see deep fake videos, you know, where you might see Joe Biden's face when you click online saying something outrageous and it's not really him. That technology is already out there. It's going to be filthy, it's going to be dirty, and the onus is going to be on the voters to do their homework, be careful about what they're accepting as true or not, and think independently, because the time has never been more ripe to be led by the nose by people with bad motives. So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Educate yourself, know the facts, right? Okay.
Right. No matter what your political persuasion.
Yes, and you never bring us fake news, John. You always give it to us right the way that it's supposed to be.
Truth and justice, that's what it says on the side of my car.
I love it. All right, John Keller, thank you so much. And thanks for checking in with us. We'll see you next time for What a Week.